Alice in Terrorland is a horror film from 2023. This is directed by Richard John Taylor, written by Taylor, based, of course, on the characters by Lewis Carroll, and we have a cast including Rula Lenska, Lizzy Willis, Jon-Paul and various others. And, of course, this is based on Alice in Wonderland. And I will say it's a creative film. It's a nice idea, but it's a bit of a mess and it just doesn't really work. It's about a young girl who's faced some loss in her life and she's living with her grandmother, and well, her grandmother starts to tell her the story of Alice in Wonderland, which is quite nice. It was a really lovely scene. And then horror things begin to happen with an Alice in Wonderland theme. But I just found the narrative to be a bit of a mess. I don't think the narrative structure worked very well. And as a story, it just wasn't very well delivered. It's also not a scary film, but I wasn't expecting it to be scary. I was going into it expecting it to be more of a fun horror, and yes, I can see that would be the case, but the narrative, because it's a little all over the place, it didn't really deliver. But yes, the fun horror aspect could work quite well. The lighting is terrible. There are a couple of times when we have quite dim lighting, but we have some soft glow here and there, and it's quite nice, but there are a lot of scenes where it's just very dimly lit, and it serves no purpose. There are a couple of scenes where the lighting is absolutely fine, but there are scenes where the lighting is just abysmal. So visually, it's not that appealing to look at. The performances are very good. The characters are very well written. I think the camera work is fine. It could be a fun horror if the narrative had been better structured and generally just better written. I like the overarching concept, but the execution, the delivery, it just didn't work very well. Do I recommend it? Only if you really love Alice in Wonderland and you're looking for a fun horror, because the horror aspect, as I said, it's not particularly scary, but it could be quite fun. But if you're looking for a story to enjoy, it's not really going to work very well. But the characters are well written, they're quite likeable, the performances are good, so there are enough elements that I guess it's a watchable film. It's not a particularly enjoyable experience, but if you want to check it out to see whether or not you like it more than I did, you may certainly well do, then it is watchable. So there's a lot of room for improvement. I think it had potential. I think it's a very creative film, but I definitely don't think that it delivered. Ultimately, Alice in Terrorland is a great idea. There are some good aspects of the film, but the narrative itself isn't, in my opinion, very well handled. The lighting isn't great. It's not scary, but if you're looking for a fun horror, those aspects might work well. So if you're just looking for a general horror recommendation, I wouldn't recommend it. If you're a big fan of Alice in Wonderland, maybe check it out. There might be some bits that you enjoy. Ultimately, it didn't live up to my expectations, but it might be worth checking out if the concept really, really appeals to you.